So I'm the CTO of the UPower. So UPower is a decentralized, clean self-energy ecosystem. So I'll talk more about my background. So I have a PhD in computer science. So my research background is mostly in the distributed networking, P2P network, the protocol network, protocol design, and also the security. So I have published about 20 journal articles, conference paper, and magazine, and patent in this area. So it's a very core technology for blockchain. So I'm helping to build the UPower system from the technology side.
Hi everyone, my name is Yuri Labor. I'm now the influencer for crypto. It's kind of funny because 6 months ago I was just a finance guy, and I have over 10 years finance background, but trading crypto I only have 2 years. But in these 2 years I was able to learn so much, and now my goal is to basically build a community for blockchain and raise crypto awareness. And I found out that UPower is pretty much the most interesting company when it comes to clean energy or green energy, and I'm excited to be a part of it as well.
Okay, great. So let's go into it a little bit. And so Terry, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the background of the project, how it came about, who else is involved, and just kind of what is UPower really in a nutshell?
Yeah, sure. So UPower has a global team. So we have the expert in both the crypto, which is blockchain, and also the energy domain. Okay. So we have about over 100 people around the world because we have a deep strategy partnership with several public companies listed on NASDAQ. So we have the hardware for distributed clean energy hardware, including solar panel, the storage, inverters, smart meter, and all the clean energy related hardware. We're also building the blockchain backend system to connect to the hardware. So we want to try to build both the energy ecosystem, including both the hardware and the software.
So as I did my research about different energy ICOs and already established cryptocurrencies, what I found unique about UPower was that they're trying to solve the whole basically problem. So it's not just peer-to-peer, it's not just business to the consumer, but it's basically by using UPower, you'll be able to be the contributor and the producer of the energy.
So great. And so you talked about making the world green again. And so can you tell us a little bit more about how UPower is going to help improve access to energy as well as other efficiencies around the world?
Sure. So in the energy domain, right, in the world, there are actually two severe problems. The first one is accessibility of the energy. So right now in the world, there are over 1 billion people, there's still lack of access of the energy. And they have 1.5 billion people, they don't have sufficient energy to use. So UPower, the second problem is, we have, even though people, they have the energy access, but they're wasting energy. So UPower is trying to solve these two problems. So we have the distributed solar, mostly solar, enable the clean energy devices. So in that way, some remote places, they will be easier to access to those the energies. Because to set up, we can think of this way, right? There's a remote place that you want to buy some bread and milk. Sometimes they have to build a Walmart, but Walmart is super expensive to build. Then instead, you can build a 7-Eleven or some small grocery store. They only need some milk and bread, right? So they solve the problem of accessibility. So UPower is achieving this problem through this way. So because the solar is distributed, you don't have to build a whole infrastructure like a station, transformer, all the very expensive centralized grid solution. You use the solar to solve the problem of accessibility of energy. In that way, some remote places or some other like remote island, they're isolated, they have their power to be accessible.
I think that the way UPower can help the world is basically by being truly decentralized. So anyone could be a miner, a consumer, and a producer. And for example, if you choose not to use PG&E, you really don't have a lot of alternatives. And if you do use PG&E, a lot of times they'll just give you credit, and if you go over, they won't give you any more money. But by using UPower, you'll be able to basically store energy and later on be able to share it.
So great, yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that centralization versus decentralization. So I think you guys are positioned very much as another alternative to these kind of very centralized grids. Can you talk about that We've seen that in the tokenized world, and so now you guys are bringing it into something that's very tangible, and very meaningful in people's everyday lives. But maybe you can just explain to a few people about the differences between those two and why it's more beneficial to be distributed.
Yeah, actually there are a couple of the blockchain-based energy solutions around the market. So the way mostly they're doing is they try to use some decentralized technology like smart contract, but they have to work with some centralized energy solution like the PG&E, like they provide the P2P trading, but all the platforms should be based on a centralized solution. But it's different from us. We are building a distributed clean energy solution. By nature, before talking about combining any type of blockchain technology, ourselves is distributed. So you don't have to talk to some centralized, you can, but you don't have to talk to some centralized energy like great PG&E. You can set up your own distributed a clean energy system at your home. You have the solar panels, storage, you don't have to connect to the PG&E. So I think that's the most, the major differences between our project with the other project, because it's more, I would say it's more practical because it's more easier to get utilized around even in California, because I'm not sure if you know that. So the government even actively support the promotion of the clean energy. Like even the last month, California government, they passed a law saying all the new home built after 2020, they have to have the solar panel installed by law. So meaning we're actually following the trend that even government supported and try to promote clean energy distribution around the world.
So I think that you can be truly your own boss, and you can harvest energy and then share. That's basically being able to be decentralized. Now, we would probably focus more on globally as far as in other countries before coming to US, because the US has the PG&E just so powerful. But if we're able to get the user base in other countries, then later on we can slowly move into US.
Okay, so it all, it sounds wonderful. And so let's say I'm a homeowner here in California, and I want to, leverage or become a node in your system, or whatever terminology you're using. But essentially, how would that work? Are you offering a full stack, all the way from solar panels through battery storage and software? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about how that's going to work, and then how I can, as a homeowner, can interoperate with that network.
Sure, I think one of the major differences between us and other projects, because we have the whole stack of the hardware, as you say. We have the solar panel, the storage, some other necessary devices like inverters, smart meters, so you can easily set up your own clean energy ecosystem at your home. So after that, I think next month, there will be a conference called Intersolar, which is one of the largest solar area conference. We're going to launch our new product called USolar. The USolar is a whole all-in-one kit, including the solar panels, storage, and also the mining devices. So you can use the power for your daily uses, plus if you have surplus power, you can use them for crypto mining. So the short answer is yes. We have the whole hardware, so homeowner can easily deploy to their home to experience the services.
Right, so we have basically a partnership with SPI, and we can manufacture this hardware ourselves.
Okay, great. And so maybe you can tell us a little bit more about how, as you're doing that, ensuring power and so forth, and then you're sending that back to this decentralized grid, you're able to earn tokens or coins through that. How is that going to operate? And also, is there the ability for larger players to get involved in the network? And how might that affect the dynamics and economics of the market?
Well, at the beginning, since we're distributed, so we are open to the large player, but it's actually at the later stage. Okay, so at the beginning, we want to benefit each user individually, and because we have the storage is actually talking not only can store the energy you generated through your rooftop solar panel, but you can also download or buy some energy from the centralized grid, because the grid price is fluctuating different based on the demand, right? So you can buy some power when the rate is low, and you can use it when the rate is high. Something like this. So we're not exclude, we're not kick the centralized or big player out of our ecosystem. We want to embrace them, but it is in the next stage or in the later stage.
Exactly. So basically, we want to focus on the users and consumers first, and then bring in the big guys, because we really want to solve the problem, the energy problem that consumers know first.
So it seems like if you have that hardware, then it'll have the effect ultimately of balancing a little bit the price difference between peak market and off market pricing. Since users would then be able to, is that something you could do with the software where people could automatically pull from the grid at a time when it's off peak and then send back into the grid? And would that be a way that they could actually earn more tokens and so forth?
Exactly. We're developing the software like our algorithm to say the user can automatically run some algorithm to download some data when they saw or use it. And also, as you say, when you generate the power, you can even sell back to the grid. But actually, we have another application scenario because it's actually the second stage of the whole ecosystem. Is we will have a microgrid. Like you have community with 200 houses. There will be a microgrid infrastructure in the community. So based on that, the neighbors or all the homeowners, they can trade electricity or energy based on the microgrid. So you cannot just only sell this to the centralized or PG&E because honestly they offer cheap price. But instead, you can sell this to your neighbor with a higher price, but still lower than if they buy from the PG&E or something like that. So we enable the local, energy transaction among all these neighbors. So that's one of our also application scenarios.
Yeah, so basically the utility of the token. So by using our token, you'll be able to trade and share energy.
Okay, great. And so there was also something very unique, and so we've heard a lot about mining and the amount of power that uses. So since you're at such an infrastructure level of this whole blockchain ecosystem, it's a very unique play. Maybe you can tell us about, it sounds like you have a product that's going to be rolling out on the heels of this, but essentially homeowners will have the ability to opt in to leverage some of the power making, power generation they have toward token mining. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure, exactly. As I say, next month, at the Solar Conference, we're going to launch a product called U-Mining, called the U-Solar. The U-Solar is actually combining the mining capability, the hardware, which is a GPU-based mining, all the way integrated to the solar-enabled energy, like solar panels, storage. So it's an all-in-one solution. The homeowner, they will have the solar energy equipment plus a miner. So they can use the surplus power to mine some major coins. Like the miner could be ASIC miner and GPU miner. And you can use them to mine some Bitcoin or Ethereum or some other altcoin like Zcash. But in the future, ongoing, when our publishing goes live, you can also mine our UBC token. We have our own consistency.
So basically, mining would be the key way how you can get it into our project. So maybe it's not with the ICO or on the exchange where we sell the tokens, but by mining, you'll be able to basically get those tokens, and not only ours, but you can also mine other cryptocurrencies.
Okay, and we'll see how much time we have left. We might have time for a question at the end. Can you tell us a little bit more about, so I think the initial version you're going to be doing is the ERC20, but ultimately you'll be doing your own blockchain. Can you tell us a little bit more about the consensus mechanism that you have planned, some of the more technical details?
Sure, of course. So we proposed a consensus mechanism called DPoP, Dedicated Proof of Power, as known as the DPoP. So my view on the next generation or the next type of the consensus is, unlike the POW, you're wasting energy, but you randomly guess the number, and then until you hit the number, you will get a reward. But I think the next generation of the consensus, they should do some contribution to the ecosystem. Let me give you an example. Like if you want to have a Uber coin, right? The coin you mine should be directly related to the contribution you did to the whole ecosystem. Like the long mileage you drive or the better review you have from the customer, you'll be able to get the more reward. Same for us. The more contribution you did to the ecosystem, clean energy ecosystem, you'll be able to reward with more tokens. Like the more power you store, the more power you generated, or the more power you're sharing, then you'll be rewarded with more tokens. So this consensus is we're still applying the pattern right now. So I can't disclose too much about the technical or mathematical economy behind this, but this is the whole idea.
Right, so I think that if you want to be the producer again and the consumer of this energy tokens, then you would have to use this type of a consensus because proof of work will not be simple enough.
Okay, great. So maybe you can just tell us a little bit about where you're at in the process. So this is a very new project. I don't think there's been a lot of public information. Maybe you can tell us about where you're at with the team. You guys are mostly based here, and other details that maybe some people that are thinking about new projects like this might want to know.
We are a team based in Santa Clara right here. So we also have a global team around in Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Europe, Australia, because we have a very deep partnership with several public companies. So they share resources, they share all the hardware with us. That's why we can easily do some global marketing within the first year, which is really hard to some startup business, startup company, because we're not actually a startup company because we share team and resources with already well-established public company.
Right, so primarily we're based here, and I was lucky enough to join the team recently, so I'm super excited. But basically we also have Malaysia, we have partnerships with Bitmain, Solar. I mean, we're trying to, of course, explore other partnerships as well, but primarily it's going to be the manufacturers for our market.
One of the things you mentioned, so in terms of scenarios, we talked about power sharing. It doesn't really, ultimately this can be a very global project, but it requires actually concentration in a regional market. Maybe you can share a little bit more about some of those, like how you plan to kind of go to market. Is it going to be with California customers first? Are you doing this in other regions? Or where are going to be, like, where's the MVP or pilot project going to be rolled out? So we have those benefits of having a few hundred customers using the system to test it out.
Yeah, we are going to start from the area where either the centralized price is high, centralized rate price is high, either like California, or somewhere they don't have access to decentralized grid, like some remote island. Even like that's why even the government they support, they're trying their best to promote the clean energy promotion or utilization in California, because the centralized price in California is one of the highest across the United States. So we start from the place with the highest centralized energy price and some remote island which they don't have access to the energy, or it's really hard to build a centralized solution for them.
I think as far as business development, we would focus on mining groups already, and the people who are already mining Bitcoin. So that way it would be our entry to kind of bring in our own machines and to find more people to be interested in our project.
Great, yeah.